and welcome. Just a very quick video to summarise some of the stuff that was in the weekly bulletin, which if you've signed up for it, you would have gotten yesterday, and if you haven't signed up for it, you can do so very easily by going to www.derrickdrapers.space. It was a humdinger of a bulletin, as I say in the introduction. Some really interesting stuff. I should say first of all that we've also launched this week our podcast and YouTube videos. There'll be one of those every week, and you can find them on that website, but also the podcast is on iTunes and Spotify. And the first episode of the podcast is about my book Create Space, and it's all about what is creating space and why is it important. So yeah, give that a look if you can. We've got a great quote for International Women's Week, which is Beyonce, who says, "Power is not given to you, you have to take it." Interesting. And there's a few articles about International Women's Week. There's a fantastic resource from the Centre for Creative Leadership, which basically provides all sorts of really practical advice on how you can mentor and sponsor women in your organisation, whether you are a man or a woman. And also a great article from The Guardian about how if there were more women in the workplace, the economy would grow by 35%, right? Which we may need given what's going on in our country at the moment and indeed our world. She's got a great quote, Christine Lagarde, who's the IMF, International Monetary Fund MD. She says, I chair meetings at which men and women are present, normally with fewer women than men. Whenever a woman takes the floor, there is a general reduction in the attention of men around the table, and sometimes chatting and gossiping amongst themselves. What a devastating thing to hear from this incredibly successful and powerful woman, that even when she is present and other women are talking, men are not paying as much attention as they would pay to other men. And then some great things from a couple of clients that I've worked with, Diageo and Dentsu Aegis, about what they did and are doing on tomorrow for International Women's Day. There's also some brilliant stuff. There's about 4 or 5 connected articles all about the Google team work, which you may have heard of already, which centres around the idea of psychological safety. Interestingly, the 5 factors that I'll let you read it, but it's all about some huge research project they did. And the 5 factors that make a great team are impact, meaning, structure and clarity, and dependability. But the 5th one, which is by far the most important, is psychological safety. And if you haven't come across this phrase, or you've dimly heard of it but want to know more, then as I say, you couldn't do better than check out those 3 or 4 articles on the bulletin. Great article about 3 signs that you're the toxic person in your workplace. What is a toxic person, right? And this article's got 3 things that identify such a person. 1, you make everything about you. 2, you say and do passive aggressive things all the time. And 3, you're jealous of others' success. Now, we've probably all got someone like that either in our work today, or we've had someone like that in our work in the past. Let's hope it wasn't us. A great article from HBR about how you can make sure that you don't get too obsessive about work, right? Which is always a danger. If you're passionate about your work and you work hard and you want to do well, they really cleverly differentiate between 2 types of passion, right? They're what they call harmonious passion, which is like more psychologically healthy for you and everyone else, versus obsessional passion. And as I say, it's a great article. They've got a checklist of 6 warning signs of why you might be too obsessive, and 4 practical things you can do if you think you are. So again, brilliant read. A great article from the British Psychological Society Digest, which looks at competition and how setting people up to compete can actually have a very negative consequence, and it explains the particular circumstances in which that can happen. So I think it's essential reading for any leader of a team, right? And then a great article about the single trait that all entrepreneurs need to succeed. It isn't actually a single trait, it's a series of things. Some great anecdotes as well, so I'd highly recommend checking that out. Lots of other articles as usual. There's a great story from Guy Kawasaki from when he worked at Apple for Steve Jobs, and also other news from Apple. They've just appointed the chief people officer, or promoted the chief people officer to be the chief people CPO and CRO. Any idea? Chief retail officer. So, you know, massive seat at the board there for this person at Apple, and maybe something for you HRDs to think about. You know, what could you add? So sometimes strategy, right? I think, you know, operations is obvious, but this is quite out of the ballpark, right? Chief retail officer as well. There's various stuff. There's an excerpt from my book. There's various links to things that we do at CDP. But there's also at the end a brilliant video, which if you want your heart warming on a rather chilly day, at least here in London, you've got to watch this video of these kids at Londonderry Primary School. It's very, very sweet. So that's our newsletter for this week. As I say, you might have already had it, in which case you've just had a summary, or you might be thinking about joining. I think it's 9,000 people now that receive it every week. If you want to do that, then just go to the website that's going to come up in a minute. All right, okay. Have a good day and happy International Women's Day to everyone.